Hi everybody, this is Shawna Audet from the Flying Cat Academy. Welcome to lesson number 6. Let's begin by setting up the table. We'll begin with our sheets for the sight word study method. You'll need your top 160 sight word list and the sight word study method instruction sheets, the cards on which the student is currently working, some pencils, and blank index cards, highlighter, and some markers. Moving on to the short vowel drill, you'll need the teacher instruction sheet, the keyword pictures for the student, and the keyword sentence. Next, we'll have the phonemic awareness drill. You'll need the teacher instruction sheet plus the tiles for the student. Then we'll have the visual drill and the auditory drill. The card pack will contain the consonants and vowels on which the student is currently working. Then we'll have the blending drill, and teacher, you'll set that one up in advance, so it's all ready to go. Magnetic letter tiles spelling drill and reading drill, and the cookie sheet with the magnetic letter tiles for the student. Then the syllable pounding sheet, which we won't use in this lesson, the new phoneme graphing kinesthetic discovery sheet, and all the sheets for this lesson which are attached to the lesson plan. Part of those sheets that were attached to the lesson plan included a word sort, and this is going to be an is it a syllable sort. Remember that the student does not read these sorts, they simply sort them. So is that a syllable? They look for the vowel, yes it is. And then there's a second sort in this lesson as well, and I wanted to show you it's the closed syllable sort, and because there's so many little pieces, right, all these little pieces of paper, I organize myself by having each word sort in a baggie. So let's move on down here. I label it lesson number 6 and I call it the closed syllable yes no sort. And just like the is it a syllable sort, the student does not read those words, they simply sort the words. Let's begin with the sight word study method. So student, take out your card pack now and you will read through your cards. When you're finished, the teacher will take the card pack and read them one by one, giving you a chance to write them down. When you get one right, when you read it, you check it on one side, and when you write it correctly, you check it on the other side. When you're finished, talk to your teacher about which ones you think are mastered, and then if there's time permitting, and if your pack is able to handle one more card, you can give yourself a new sight word. I bet by now you're getting to be a pro at the short vowel drill, so with 2 fingers, trace the apple, ah. Do it 5 times and then go on to the next one until you've done all the apple, Eddie, itchy, olive, and up. Say your keyword sentence once, pulling out the vowel sounds as you do it, and get started. Now that you've finished the short vowel drill, let's review those sounds. I'm going to point to a letter and you say the sound that it makes. Is it apple, Eddie, itchy, olive, or up? Let's move on to the phonemic awareness drill. You'll need your color tiles for this one. Do you have them? Okay. Your word is hat. Say the word. Now I want you to build the word hat with your colored tiles. Do that now. Are you done? Okay, I want you to tap each colored block saying the sound, and then underline the whole thing and say the word. Now, use the word in the sentence. Okay, let's move on. So if that word is hat, I'm wondering if you could find the ah in hat. Change the ah into an ah. So change the colored tile for ah into a different colored tile and call it ah. What do you have now? Tap it and say the whole word. Did you get hot? Okay, if you did, terrific. Find the ah in hot And I want you to change the ah to an eh. What do you have now? Tap it and say it. Did you get het? Find the h in het and change the h to a s. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get set? If you did, terrific. Now find the eh in set and change the eh to an I. What's your new word? Tap it and say it, and then you're done. Let's move on to the visual drill. I'm going to show you a card, and I want you to name the letter and tell me the sound that the letter makes. And this is for the teacher as well. Once the student masters the names of the letters, then they can simply give the sound. Here's your first one. Did you say N? N? If you did, great. Here's your next one. This one is O, ah. How about this one? This is an H. Remember, we want to take that sound off. We don't want huh, we want huh. How about this one? This is an I. This is a J. J. K. K. Let's do the auditory drill. This time I'm going to say a sound, and I want you to repeat it. Then you'll write down the symbol that goes with that sound, underline it, and say the sound again. Here's your first one. Say the sound. What symbol goes with Write it down, underline it, and say the sound again. Did you get M? If you did, good job. Your next sound is P. Say the sound. Now write down the symbol for that sound. Underline it and say the sound again. How'd you do? S. Say the sound. Write down the symbol. Underline it and say the sound again. Did you get? If you did, terrific. T. Say the sound. Write down the symbol, underline it, and say the sound again. How did you do? It's time for the blending drill. So you'll need your little paper cards for this one. Your teacher has them all lined up in the right order on the table. And when you see the word, you're going to tap it and say it. And then your teacher will move one of the cards to reveal a new word, and you'll tap it, say it, and on you go. Do that now and then come back to me. Let's do a quick review of the difference between a consonant and a vowel. You'll need your magnetic letter tiles for this one. So student, I would like you to point to all the vowels that you know. And if you miss any, your teacher can go over them with you. When you're done, teacher, I'd like you to point to random letters and have the students say either consonant or a vowel, depending on what you're pointing to. Do that now and then come back to me. We've also been talking about how to resolve the confusion of B and D and P and Q. So teacher, what I'd like you to do is have a magnetic letter tile for B and one for D. I'd like you to show it to the student, one or the other, and then the student can use when I go to bed, and they can figure out whether it's a B or a D. We've also been talking about what it is to be a syllable. Do you remember our hand gestures for this one? We say a syllable is a word or part of a word with one vowel pattern. Let's do it together. So a syllable is a word or part of a word with one vowel pattern. Let's do it one more time. Ready? Here we go. A syllable is a word or part of a word with one vowel pattern. And what does that mean? Well, let's look on my board. If we think about this word here, man, we ask, is it a word? Well, is man a word? Have you heard that one before? Yeah, you have. Okay, well, it must be a syllable. And you can also tell because it's got a vowel pattern. So even if you couldn't read the word, you could just look and see if there's a vowel in the word or not. So is that a syllable? No, it's not a word, it's not a syllable. There's no vowel. Your teacher has a yes-no sort ready for you so that you can tell the difference between a syllable and a non-syllable. If it's a syllable, I want you to pull the card over to the yes pile. And if it's not a syllable, I want you to pull it over to the no pile. You don't have to read these cards. Some of them are syllable types I haven't even taught you. So just look at it. Is there a vowel? And pull it to the right side. Do that now. Today we're going to focus on this symbol, QU. I think of it as one symbol because QU always goes together. Here's a way to remember that. You have a rule card and it has QU plus that chicken picture on it. And I tell myself a little story. I say, Q is afraid. He is such a chicken. He never goes outside without his good friend, U. So U is strong. He's very social. U can go in lots of words without Q. He's not afraid. Let's look at that. I'm just going to grab my letter board here. So look at here's a case where U is outside without his good friend Q. In the word sun. Sun. And there's lots of words that end in UN. Sun. Fun. And we could keep on going. Gun. So those are lots of cases. U is allowed to be in lots of words without Q. But Q is a chicken. So Q will never be in a word without his good friend U right behind him. QU. I'm going to read you a list of words. I want you to tell me the sounds that you hear in every single one of these words. Here we go, listen carefully. Quit. Quid. Qued. Quat. Quinn. What sound did you hear in every single word? And if you need to, your teacher can read that list again. Did you hear qu? That's what it was. So the sound of QU is actually the k sound of the K and the w sound of the W. Kw. Can you say that? Kw. Your teacher's going to give you a list of words that have that QU in them. And I want you to circle it. You can use your favorite pencil to do it or your pencil crayon. And I don't want you to read those words. Just circle the Q and the U together, the QU. Do that now and then come back to me. Let's explore that sound of qu. Put your hands on your throat and let's start off by making the first half, which is the k sound as in kite. K. You do it too. What's happening in our lips and our throat and our tongue and our teeth? Those are all the things that can be involved. What's happening when we make the sound k? Are our lips open or closed? K. Is the tongue on the bottom or top of our mouth? K. Talk about that right now with your teacher. K. Is that sound motor off or motor on? K. If you said motor off, you're correct. My mouth is open as I'm making the sound, k, and my tongue is on the bottom. Now let's try the second half of the sound. Ooh, You'll think of this as wah, but we want to take the off it. So I don't even drop my jaw to do this. Ooh. So ooh. It's definitely a vibrator. So you got your vibration going on in your throat and your vocal cords. Ooh. Ooh. When you want to finish the sound, eh? Ooh. So things are really puckered up there. Ooh, my vocal cords are vibrating, my tongue's ooh, kind of touching the bottom teeth there. Ooh. Okay, so now let's try to do the sounds together. The k and the w. Kw. Kw. So it starts with the motor off, and then the motor starts on again when we say the w part of it. Kw. So that was our biggest sound yet because there were two parts to it, the k and the w. Well done. Let's get a card and try to draw that now. So you'll put a small QU on the front, and then we're going to write in capital letters QU on the side. I'm going to do that now. On the back of the card, I will put how it sounds, which is k and w. And then I'll make a keyword, and for me, I'm going to put queen, and your teacher can tell you how to spell it. And then I just made a little picture of a girl with a crown, which is my queen. Yeah, and that's it. There's only one sound for kwa, so we only need one picture for this one. Finish up and then come back to me. Today we're going to talk about the closed syllable. Did you know that there's different kinds of syllables? There's actually 7 different kinds. We talk about the closed syllable first because almost half of all English words are closed syllables, so it makes sense to start there. When we understand syllable types, all of a sudden, English stops being a bunch of random rules, and it becomes this elegant system where things make sense. Syllable types tell us how to read the vowels. Is it apple for Eddie, or is it A? Let's grab your rule card right now. And the rule card tells us that a syllable, when it's a closed syllable, it has one vowel, and the vowel is followed by one or more consonants. If that's the case, then the vowel is going to be short. So let's look at what I mean by that. Okay, let's take this word. Is there one vowel in this word? Yes, there is. Is the vowel followed by one or more consonants? At least one. Yep, there's one. So that tells us that this is a closed syllable and that we're going to have to read this O with a short sound, olive. So when we do the short vowel drill, we're practicing the sounds of the closed syllable, the sounds that the vowels are going to have. Here's how I like to remember it. I say, O needs a babysitter because O's mommy is going out. And T came to babysit. So T comes over and everything's fine. He's like, oh, everything's wonderful, O. Just chill out. You can say your nice soft sound. Say your short sound. And O's like, olive. But what happens if this is a bad babysitter and maybe he gets a cell phone call and he's like, oh, I have to go take my call. And he leaves the O unattended. Well, that's no good. So maybe the O can wander off and get lost. And so the O would say, oh, it's over here. And he starts calling for his mommy because he's worried that there's no one to look after him. Oh, it's over here, mommy, mommy. And so now this word is G-O because the O is shouting his name. That's an open syllable. But then the babysitter comes back. Everything's okay. It's okay, O. You can be quiet again. O says, olive. Got. Let's look how that works in a different example. Okay. We'll have the same, let's change babysitters. Okay, M, will you babysit the I? Okay. So M comes in, and he's going to babysit, and the I is very happy about that. The I will say his nice short sound. Itchy. So this word is him. But what happens if M decides to go off and watch a video with his friend? I'm just going to go over to my friend's house for a minute. I'll be right back. Now I gets very upset. The babysitter's gone. I am over here. Mommy, my babysitter left me. I. And what's the new word? I. So when it's an open syllable, it's like it's open at the end, then the I will say his name. But when we close it in with the babysitter, now the vowel's closed back in, he's going to be nice and calm and say his itchy sound. And we're back to him. And that's how the closed syllable works. Take a few minutes and do the closed syllable yes or no sort. Is it a closed syllable? If it is, you'll put it under the yes column. And if it's no, then you'll put it in the no pile. You don't have to read these words, and you won't be able to because they contain all different syllable types. I just want you to sort them. Do so now. It's time for the magnetic letter tile drill. Can you take out your tiles now? I'm going to tell you that your first sound is qu. Can you repeat that sound? Now find the letter tile that goes with that sound and bring it to the middle. Your next sound is I. Repeat that sound. Now find the correct tile and bring it to the middle. Your last sound is T. Can you repeat that sound? Find the correct tile and bring it to the middle. I want you to tap each sound and say the sounds as you do it, and then blend them together as you underline the word and say the whole word. Do that now. Did you say quit? If you did, good job. Can you use quit in a sentence? I will not quit. That's my sentence. What's yours? Okay, let's try a new word. So put your letters back in order, and then we'll do our next word. Let's find one. Okay, your first sound is Can you repeat that sound? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Your next sound is Repeat that sound. Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Your last sound is D. Repeat that sound. Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Tap each sound and say it. And underline the whole thing. And tell me the word. Did you get mud? If you did, great. Now put it in a sentence. And you can put your board away. It's time to read your word list. So teacher, you got your eye on the time there, and you'll know if you have time to read the whole list or if you should decide how many words to read. And when you finish that, you're going to move on to the story. Save the pictures for afterwards. Do those two activities and then come back to me. We are moving into the writing portion of the lesson, so you'll need your magnetic letter tiles again. And we are going to work on the word bed. Can you repeat that word? Okay, and can you use that word in a sentence? All right, what's the first sound that you hear in the word bed? Find the correct tile and bring it to the middle. What is the second sound that you hear in the word bed? Find the right tile and bring it to the middle. And what's the last sound that you hear in the word bed? Find the right tile and bring it to the middle. Now tap each tile with 2 fingers and say the sound of each letter as you do it, and then underline it and say the whole word. Did you say bed? If you did, great job. Let's try another one. We're going to work on the word pot. Can you repeat that word? Now use the word in a sentence. I will put the pot on the stove. There's my sentence. Okay. What's the first sound that you hear in the word pot. Find the right tile and bring it to the middle. What's the second sound that you hear in the word pot? Find the right tile and bring it to the middle. And what's the last sound that you hear in the word pot? Find the right tile and bring it to the middle. Now I want you to tap each tile and say the sounds, and then underline the whole thing and say the whole word. Did you say pot? Great job. Let's move on. We're going to tap and trace and then write individual words. So you'll need your pencil and some line paper. We'll begin by tapping. This is where you're tapping your finger to your thumb. And then you grab the whole word and you pull it left to right and say the whole word. So your first word that I want you to do this with is wet. Tap the word wet and say the sounds as you tap it. Grab the whole word and then say the whole word. And then write the word down. Do that now. Okay. Your next word is pan. And this time I want you to either trace it on your leg, or you could trace it on your arm or your hand. Trace the sounds and say them. So you'll trace the letters and say the sounds. And then you will grab the whole word and say it as you pull it across, and then write it down. Do that now. And the last word is quit. You have a choice here. You could tap it out, or you could trace it, whatever you prefer. And then you'll write it down. Do that now. Great work. The last part of the lesson is that we are going to write 2 sentences. So I will read 3, and then you can choose which ones you want to write. Here they are. The dog got wet. The wet did not quit. Pup and cat did not get wet. So your teacher can read those again if you need to, and you can choose which ones you would like to write. And then I want you to use CHOPS to check your work. And your teacher can remind you of what the C, H, O, P, and S stand for. Finish that up and then come back to me. Let's do a quick review before you go. So our big concepts today were that we talked about this symbol, QU. Do you remember the sound that it makes? Tell your teacher if you do. Did you say Q, the sound of K and the sound of W? If you did, good job. Q, in every single English word, is going to be QU. It's never just going to be Q. Q always goes with U. U, in contrast, can be in lots of words by itself, but not Q. Q will always be QU. So we have a little story to remind us of that. So every English word, quit, queen, they're all QU. We say that Q is a chicken. He will not go out without his good friend U, and U follows him everywhere. The second big concept was, what is a closed syllable? A closed syllable has one vowel, and that vowel is followed by one, or it could be more, consonants, but at least one. So is this a closed syllable? Is it a word with one vowel followed by at least one consonant? Yes, it is. What's the little story? Do you remember? Here's P. He's the babysitter. He comes to do his job. Oh, yay, says A. I've got a babysitter. I'm nice and happy. So he's just going to say a soft sound, a short sound. Apple. App. Map. But what happens if the babysitter goes away? A is going to scream his name. A is over here. Mommy, mommy, my babysitter's gone. And that happens in the word maple. Let's put the babysitter back. And what sound will A make now that the babysitter's back and everything's good? Ah. Map. Great job, everybody. That's the end of lesson number 6. This is Shawna Audet from the Flying Cat Academy. Bye for now.